gonna start. Wait for Alisa to come back. Well, lovely to see all your beautiful, sweet faces. And thank you. Thank you for being here for our very first health and wellness workshop at Unity. And welcome those who join us online now or later watching the replay. Now, it is a pleasure that I get to do this, and I've been wanting to do this for quite some time, actually. So I'm very grateful for the opportunities to share what I've learned and been trained in the health and wellness in the past 25 years. Now, like everything we learn or share at Unity, these workshops are about remembering the divine intelligence within us. And we all know that health is a holistic manifestation of vibrant energy, positive mind, and spiritual connection, right? And so our bodies are actually the sacred expression of the divine, just as our souls are. But sometimes in that deep commitment of spiritual growth, we may unintentionally overlook the whispers of the body and thinking that it's less important than the soul. But I want to remind everyone that the body is not separate from the spirit. And it's our living temple, right? It carries both our light and sometimes our unhealed pain. And when the body struggles, it is not a failure of faith. It is not. It really is invitation directly from the Spirit to invite us to bring the same compassion, the same wisdom, and the same healing intention to our body, just like what we do to our hearts and our minds. So now imagine how brightly we all could shine if we were all nourishing and supporting our body in the way that we support our hearts and our minds. Just imagine that. So healing the body really is not about fixing what is broken. It's about really bringing us back to that wholeness that we are already expressing, and just finding a way back to ourselves. Is it about honoring the wholeness that's already within us and giving it room to bloom? So this is the first invitation. And I know that it's quite, whatever I'm gonna be sharing soon probably will be very different from what you understanding, or what you've been told or taught by the mainstream on how to look at your body. And so this is, I'm not really saying something new, it's really just a reminder, for the most part. So we're all whole at our core, right? So the regenerative health principle that I'm going to share with you today, mainly just to help you clear the path for the wholeness to express fully, but at the cellular level. Okay, I know in Unity we talked about how to access our spiritual well-being through the spiritual lenses in our spiritual pursuit. But sometimes we have to understand that the body really is the entry point, and we cannot forget that. So in these workshops, we will look at the body from different angles, maybe biochemistry, the bioenergetics, the bioelectric, and also quantum biology. And we also talked about how nourishing our body through our daily choices can really help us enhance the vitality, restore health, and therefore raising our vibration and accelerating our spiritual growth. Now, before I share what is regenerative health, I'm gonna give you a little bit background about myself and how I got here and doing what I'm doing. I had a presentation, I think a while ago, probably 2 years ago, about my healing journey, and some of you were not here, so I'm just gonna give you a little background about that. So I've been on the path of health and wellness, especially natural healing, since the year 2000. And it was my own health challenges and my daughter's cancer diagnosis that led me onto this path. And prior to that, I was a journalist in Taiwan, having a very stressful career, pretty much spanning the entire decade of the 90s. So by the time I got to Bloomington in 1999 and thought that I could finally relax, my body rebelled. Turned out that the frequent use of antibiotic during my reporting years as a result of avoiding those bathroom trips and before my deadline at noon really took a toll on my body. My gut was a mess. I was suffering severely with the severe irritable bowel issues, chemical sensitivity, food allergy, environmental allergy, just all kinds of stuff. I was sick over. And so I went to all kinds of doctors, went through major medical workups, and nothing and no one could tell me what's wrong with me. Yet I was prescribed with all the medications, as you can imagine. And that just that doesn't make sense to me. So finally I got fed with more doctor visits and more tests, and I decided to take the healing into my own hands. And what I did really back then is the same thing that I've been teaching and leading people to do, but I didn't know the term regenerative health. What I did is really I eliminated all the processed food, which was never really part of my life before I came here anyway. And then I did juice fasting first thing in the morning, and then I also threw in juice fast every once in a while, during the weekends. Within 2 months, guys, all the symptoms, pretty much all of them, were gone. And I had never since wavered, on the power of food and natural healing. And so time flies, it's been 25 years. And like I said, the regenerative health term wasn't even existing back then. And now these days we heard about the microbiome. I don't know if you guys heard about it, gut health, microbiome. All those things wasn't existing in that time. But for some reason, I had that instinct, to go through all the process and get myself back on track in health. Unfortunately, soon after I recovered from all the health challenges, fortunately, my daughter came along, but soon, unfortunately, right after she turned 5 months old, she was diagnosed with leukemia. So that really turned my world upside down. And she went through the 2.5 years of chemotherapy, and then remained in remission for another 11 months before the cancer came back. So we were told at that time that, if the cancer came back, that means her bodies are resistant to all the chemo drugs. And so they suggested a stem cell transplant. And even that, though, the survival rate was less than 50%. And that's when my husband and I, we started searching and looking for alternative cancer treatment. And eventually, we took her to Germany for a round of holistic cancer treatment. And it's an eye-opening experience because it's very different. The things are run there is completely different than the conventional treatment or the hospitals. So I learned a lot. But unfortunately, again, we were only able to do it once before her stem cell transplant, and eventually she died from the complication of the stem cell transplant. But in that process, I learned so much. I learned so much about all things natural, and then how the body works. And her death really actually kind of deepened my pursuit in natural healing. And now, after she died, the next 10 years, I spent all this big chunk of time just trying to heal myself because of all the trauma, the damage done by the stress, right? The emotional, the physical, and then the mental stress from dealing with her treatment and then her passing. So I spent all that big chunk of time just trying to heal myself. And again, I just really just only work with the natural modalities. And finally, I think around like a 2017, 18, I realized, oh, I was coaching friends and families, and people have the problem, they try to heal different way, they would come to me. And I thought, well, I should do this. I've learned so much, and I've experienced so much, I should just go ahead and do something about it, and so that I can help more people. So I went to nutrition school and then get certified as an integrated nutrition health coach. And because I was very into bioenergetics, the energy healing, so I went ahead and got certified in as a bioenergetic health practitioner. I will share with you more later in other time. And so I started health coaching officially and professionally 5 years ago, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And the past 3 years has been all focused on regenerative health. And then, boy, I have to tell you, this regenerative health concept is so different that I had to unlearn and relearn everything in that past, 20 years. And the key difference is how we look at the body. And I think we're the lucky bunch here, because we are all know and very clear about unity principles. And if you look at the body, if you are willing to look at the body from the unity principles, you will understand how the body works. And this is, so since I started practicing regenerative health, I think it helped me understand the spiritual side of the thing even better. And then I get to really just see how the two sides reflect on each other in a very beautiful way. So I'm gonna have somebody look at your first handout, the regenerative health principle and then the new thought principle, and what's the common thread here. Can someone here read the first, the horizontal chunk? How do you say that?
The row?
The row, yes. It will help you understand the different, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
regenerative health principle, the body is inherently self-healing when given the right conditions, nutrition.
Oh, microphone. There.
The body is inherently self-healing when given the right conditions, nutrition, detoxification, and rest. And the new thought, the unity principle that goes with that, is the soul inherently knows the truth and can access divine wisdom through prayer, meditation, and affirmative thought. The common thread between regenerative health and unity new thought principle is an innate intelligence and self-correction are natural when conditions support alignment.
Yeah? Good. Yeah. Who's gonna read the next line?
I guess I will. The regenerative health principle is illness is not random. It's a result of disconnection from natural laws of the body, toxicity, deficiency, stagnation. The unity new thought principle is suffering is not random. It's a result of misalignment with spiritual truth or unconscious thought patterns. The common thread is both see dis-ease as an opportunity to return to wholeness, not punishment.
Great. Any questions or comments?
Makes sense.
Yeah. If not, we just keep going.
Healing comes, under the regenerative principle, healing comes from within, not from external forces like drugs or surgeries, though sometimes interventions are needed temporarily. Under unity thought principles, transformation comes from within. Spiritual growth isn't dependent on external circumstances, but on inner awakening. And common thread, empowerment comes from inner work, not waiting for an outside fix.
Regenerative principle is vitality is our natural state. Symptoms are communications, not enemies. The new thought principles, joy, peace, and love are our natural states. Disturbances are invitations to realign with spirit. Common thread is symptoms, body or life are messages guiding us back to our true nature.
So far, so good, everyone? We're on the detoxing? Yeah.
Okay. Detoxification is a clearing of what no longer serves, toxins, waste, to restore flow and life force. Forgiveness, release, and affirmative prayer clear mental/emotional blocks to restore spiritual flow.
And the
Clear.
common threads? Go ahead.
Clearing away the old, whether physical or spiritual, is key to rebirth and renewal.
Regenerative health principle. Focus on whole food nutrition, high vibration foods, hydration, clean air, movement to nourish the body. The Unity New Thought principle. Focus on positive thinking, prayer, meditation, gratitude to nourish the soul. And the common thread is nourishment is multidimensional. Body and soul both require conscious feeding. I like that.
Yes. Any thoughts?
This is really lovely.
You can you all relate and agree?
Yes, thanks for putting it together.
Summarize it. How would you summarize it? One sentence.
Okay, I have to be honest with you. AI helped. I have my thoughts. I give it the prompt. What's the points that I try to illustrate here, and then it will make up the column for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
So,
I'm impressed.
so in summary, what is regenerative health?
Unity principles.
Yes, yes, but apply on the physical body, right?
Natural path to the
Moving back to perfection.
Yes, that perfect design, right?
Allowing the body to heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's all within us to heal.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Allowing that. But I think it's also outside of us too.
Here, we need to use the microphone if we're gonna record this for later use.
I think coming from my perspective, I think healing is
No,
not
no,
just
it's not all
turn
on.
it up, mute button off.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Coming from my perspective, healing is not just within, it's a part of it, but it's also outside us too.
Yes, we
There
will
is
get
a
to
force
that.
more powerful to us.
Yes.
I don't see that in here. That's the other thing. That's
We,
what-
we will get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is the premise, because I want everyone to understand how the body works. And if we miss this part, it's really hard. All other things that we try to do, you really kind of just like, either not very efficient or you're always missing something.
It's responsible health care. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we're going to cover all that, and because this is the series of workshop, today is kind of a prelude and overview, and then with the later workshop, we're going to go dive into all the different topics, the food, the environmental factors, and all that. Okay, but we'll cover what you say later here. Okay. So whenever people, let me just give you a quick summary. When people ask me, what is regenerative health, I would say the regenerative health is the art and science of self-repair through nourishment and detoxification. Okay, and then the detoxification part really is the key in this modern age, because our body are designed to heal and desire to detox. We have all the mechanism, we have all the channels built in with us. But because of all the the environment that we live in today is very different, say from just 50 years ago, even 100 years ago. It's everything we've been thrown with all the toxins from all directions. It's from our clothes, the carpets, the air. Food is only one source of it, right? Food is one source of it.
So hey, your necklace is hooked on your microphone.
Oh.
There you go. Thank you.
And that's why detoxification become a very important part in terms of healing. And in my own personal, experience of helping others, when I first started practicing, I only offer like a 6-month program. And then people will go through it and they will get better, of course, but it really would take that long to see a significant change. Since I started incorporating the detoxification part, so whoever comes in, we start with the detox in one way or the other. We just add this part in, everything just accelerates. It's just so much faster. Now clients can get the 6 months result within a month or 2. It is that powerful. So as a regenerative health practitioner, I really just, I use all the natural modalities to help people restore and enhance their own healing ability. Now, the key concept, we already went through it. I'm gonna just add a couple more points for you to think about. So somebody mentioned earlier that our body is already perfect. Somebody said that, right? The design, the original blueprint is already perfect. We just need to go back to it. Do you know that 95% of the biology that we know today, we don't know why or how? So for example, we know that the immune cells recognize the invaders, but we don't know where they got the wisdom from. Or we know that we can describe DNA, but we don't know how they can self-example in such a perfect way just by combining those lifeless molecules. We don't know that. The scientists don't know that. Or we know that our nervous system, our nerves can fire signals, but we don't know how we can turn thought into biochemical reactions instantly. We have no answer. Or even just from a stem cell perspective, when the eggs and the sperm meet together, that one cell eventually divided into 2 and 4 and 8. We cannot, biology today cannot find any map inside our body to give it an explanation. We don't know. So that's the part that's really, it's totally still unity, right? The spirit side of the things, that we don't have the explanation. So because of that, our body is already designed to heal. And it wants to heal in any way. It wants to heal with any circumstance, with any resource that it has. Now, when it cannot heal, it usually is the lacking of a resource or lacking of the communication. The communication is down, or it's lacking, or it's stagnant, or the toxic load is just too high. It's pretty much all these those aspects. And of course, all these issues can be from mind, body, and spirit. Right. Now, every symptom, if you look at the second page of the handout, every symptom is signals. So if you go through it, you will see, some of them I know, and I'm sure that you already know, right? The fever is actually the body's way to try to raise the temperature to deter the invader. The mucus is to trap whatever it's not supposed to be there and bring it out. But as you go through it, I would invite you to think about it. So when you are experiencing all these symptoms, what's your typical response? Mm-hmm. Yes. And what do you do? So when you are experiencing all these symptoms, what's the action that you take?
I'll say what.
Oh.
Test. Switch to mute button. Hello? All right. Hello? Just push it up. Sorry.
Hello? I think that a typical Western medicine response is to medicate or find something to relieve symptoms, not necessarily to cure. That's not necessarily my always response, but that would be a response that I would say is in culture.
Right. Because symptoms can be very uncomfortable, right? And so the human nature, we just want to eliminate pain or discomfort. And our I mean, a lot of time is also because of the social conditioning. Right? We've been told that these symptoms are bad, so we need to try to find ways to suppress it or eliminate it. And so that's what we do without even thinking it. But if you now been aware that how our body actually works, just like how the spirit, works on us, then that would be something for you to consider from now on. And just you have that extra awareness.
There is a hamster's cage that I get in with pain because I'm always dealing with lower back pain, and it keeps me from getting a lot of exercise. And so in order to get exercise, I have to take ibuprofen to get rid of the pain temporarily so that I can get the exercise. So I feel like I'm on a hamster cage with this whole pain issue. And I don't know if, I can get rid of all the medications that I take because they keep me healthy in other ways. So I need to know how to blend the medication with what's going on in my health issues so that we can work together with it. Because if I eliminated everything I put in my mouth, medication-wise, I'd be in pretty sad shape right now.
No, we're not talking about not going to doctor or not using the medication, because there is place, for such things. But we're talking about how to break that cycle, as you say. Let me share a different perspective with you, and Alisa, right? I'm sure you can relate. So from traditional Chinese medicine point of view, the pain is blockage, the energetic blockage. Anything is there. And the only way that you can unblock that blockage is really just moving, to move the energy. So in terms of pain, if you go to a Western medicine doctor, so, oh yeah, it's painful, it's uncomfortable, here's the medicine for you to get rid of that pain.
And don't move it.
And don't move it, okay. Chinese medicine doctor, the more you have the pain, the more reason you need to move. But the doctor is not telling you to move forcefully when you cannot. You do whatever you can, a little bit at the time, until you are able to do it. So if someone say, well, I cannot exercise, they might be thinking about, going to gym or jogging or that. No, you don't have to do it. The only thing you do probably is like this. Can you do this? Can you do this? Or can you hold on to something? Can you do this? So there's a lot of limiting beliefs around the topic of everything. And so this is actually, at the end of the day, we're all trying to see things from different perspectives, and that's where the breakthrough come from. And a lot of time, it doesn't have to be a big, massive step. It's just, what's the next little step that you can take?
There's I was going to say this, that if you've ever read any books or seen any information about
Dr. Master Sha, he's he's a world-renowned healer, and he knows a lot of the martial arts. He knows Tai Chi and Qigong and all those things. He's amazing. And he also addresses, he's been trained in Western medicine and Eastern medicine, and he addresses root causes. And he's just wonderful. I've read all of this stuff. I have lots of this information that I share with students.
The name?
Dr. Master Sha, S-H-A.
Shaw, S-H-A-W?
Doctor, yes.
And what's the first
Master Sha. He goes by Dr. Master Sha. Xingzheng Sha. I don't know the spelling.
I need to look at the Chinese character in order to tell you. Seb, can you put up the first slides on, please? Okay, can you all see it? It's hard to see. Okay, so the next point, which is the very important point that's pretty much separated the regenerative health from other schools of healing, including naturopathy, functional medicine, is this. All the imbalances is actually the environment that's out of balance. Think of this, our whole body Every cell, every tissue, every organ, every system is connected. And if we know that from energy point of view, why is it not on the physical level, on the physical chemistry or biology? It's the same idea. So these two guys, I don't know if you can read it, but basically, I think it's pretty self-explanatory with that in the chart. Our body is like, imagine your body is a fish tank. And the reason we use fish tank because our body is 70% water. And if you look at it from molecular point of view, are 99% water molecules in our body, 99%. So imagine our body is just a fish tank. And in order for that fish to stay healthy, we really need to keep that environment clean, right? And so when the fish tank is dirty, what do? We change the water, we clean the filtering system, we scrub all those stones and all that, right? The same is in our body, but we don't do it. We don't do it. And this, it's not an issue in the past when the life was very simple, we didn't have the toxin, we didn't have all the stress, we didn't have all the things, the politics, that really just just adding all the stress to us. We didn't have that, and so the body can handle it, no problem at all. But with the modern life, there's just so much for the body to handle. And we literally are congested. The liver, all the elimination pathway, all the system, the lymphatic system we're going to talk about later, is also congested. And so when the water is dirty, it doesn't matter what you feed the fish, how nutritious the food is, how much, all the, fancy stuff that you put in the fish tank, the fish will get sick. So that's the same concept. Seb, can you move on to the next one, please? Okay, this is the same idea you apply here. So in order to keep our body clean, we really need all those clean foods, right? That's your fruits and vegetables, those healthy foods. And what happened with a lot of people, that part, we put all those food in, that's only one of the reasons. We are talking about holistic health here, but it's just for the illustration purpose. So when the fish tank is dirty like that, and we just give the meds, we're not treating the root cause at all, okay? And that's when you see that people who's gone through cancer treatment, for example, including my daughter, gone through cancer treatment, and we thought that, oh yeah, it's remission, you no longer, you're cancer-free, but then the cancer came back. Because the environment has never been changed. The root cause is still there, okay? All right, so these are very important concepts because they affect how we look at the body and how we gonna take, what kind of action will we take when we are experiencing an imbalance, right? So instead of asking, how could I kill this bacteria or kill this virus? Can we ask, how do I support my body's clearing process? Or how do I reduce the toxic load? Or how do I nourish my immune system and my terrain? So this is a very different concept. I keep repeating it. I hope that it kind of sink in. And so what we see today really is that we don't trust the bodies because we lost all this connection. And there are quite a few reasons that Alicia mentioned about that. So the first of all is we all know that because we're so conditioned by the mainstream medicine that all symptoms are bad, right? And we need to suppress or eliminate it. The second one is a very important part. We will get to it in our other workshop. We lost the connection to the nature. And when we lost the connection to the nature, we lost the connection to our body. Because we are part of the nature. We are nature. We are nature. But now, just think about this 50 years ago or 100 years ago, people were intuitively known when they're in balance and knew how to find the herbs or what kind of food to eat. But we know now we don't know because our body kind of lost, because we lost the connection to the body. We don't know, so that's why we need to outsource our pain over the pills, or we need to find a doctor to fix us. We totally lost that connection. So again, well, the third reason is the living environment. Now it's beyond our capacity, beyond our body's capacity. Now the number 4 is the stuck emotions and unresolved trauma, and that I think hopefully one day, I don't know if Jana or we can find someone to give us a workshop about it. That would be great because it's a very important part in our healing. So just looking at that environment, if you know that the terrain, which is the environment in our body, if we know that that's the root cause that we need to fix, and there are a lot of things we can do. It's now very well established in medical research that pretty much all the disease or dis-ease start at the cellular level. And the reason or the most important factor that affects how our cells behave or function is the environment that's surrounding the cells. Again, go back to this concept. So in other words, if the environment is healthy, the cells will behave and function the way they're supposed to be, right? And if the environment is not healthy, the cell can go wild and off track and go crazy. Now, the same principle applies to the gene expression. So we used to think that genes are deterministic, right? Oh, if your parents have diabetes, I'm doomed, I'm destined to have diabetes. Now, in epigenetics, which is the study of the environment around cells, has proven to us 95% of the chronic diseases that we have today has nothing to do with the genes, unfortunately. That's the bad news for a lot of people. We can no longer blame our parents for giving us the bad genes because it requires the environmental trigger to decide if that gene will be turned on or off. Now, having that understanding, I hope you get to see the empowering part. Because if we can, turn that gene in a negative path, we can bring it back to the positive path too, right?
With our thoughts.
Yeah, all kinds of thoughts, all the self-care and all the foods and the lifestyle and all that. So we can definitely change it, okay? Where am I? Yeah, and then I said 95%. Actually, there's another kick in the back. The other 5% that are considered as genetic disorders, if we trace it back, they found out that they often can find the environmental part, which is mostly stress related. That means when the parents were conceiving the embryo, actually the parents or the grandparents or the great-grandparents are under stressful situation, and that caused the gene mutation. So if you just keep tracing back, you realize, no, gene is not an issue. Gene has never been the issue. And so I really would like to invite you to think of this as a very empowering a factor. And that's why in my line of work, we have this saying, we said, genetics loads the gun, lifestyle or environment pulls the trigger. All right. So the next I'm going to move on to give you a little bit of the understanding about how our body works at the cellular level. We talked about a lot of big environmental, the big view of it. Now we're going to zoom in into the cellular level. Any questions so far or comments? Okay. So every one of us need to eat and poops every day, right? Every cell in our body does the same. And so the image of that, yes, that's very helpful. So how our body works at the cellular level, I'm going to give you a very brief overview. We are basically trillion cells in two major fluids. Depends on the size of the individual. It could be from 37 to 75 trillion cells. And the two major fluids is the blood and the lymph. Now, the blood feeds every cell's tissue and organs in the body. And the lymph cleans every cell, tissue, and organ in the body. So just imagine the blood is our kitchen. And then the lymph is the bathroom and our sewage system. Now, the blood only takes up about 20% of our body fluid, whereas the lymphs, pretty much the rest of the 80%. But have you heard of anyone discussing about the importance of lymphatic system? No, because everyone's focus is all on the blood, right? Because the blood is our lifeline, which is very important, that's right. But nobody talked about the lymphatic system. And again, it won't be a problem. It wasn't a problem in the past, but now in the modern day and age, that part simply cannot be ignored. And that's what got most of the people into trouble in the first place, because the lymphatic system is so backed up. And I'm gonna share with you how you check it later. Now let me just finish talking about that lymphatic system. So whatever we eat, drink, breathe, put on our skin, what we think, what we feel, eventually all get dumped into the lymphatic system. Whatever no longer serves us, physically, mentally, emotionally, get dumped into the lymphatic system. And so how does those lymphatic waste get out of the body? Guess. Eat.
Urine.
Heat.
Pee.
Oh, pee. Yes, very good. Yay. Yeah. So so those lymphatic system, lymphatic waste, we call it cellular waste. They got excreted out through the kidneys as urine. And so this is the part that probably you don't know about. So check your urines. We want to see cloudy urine instead of clean. If your urine is clean, your kidneys are not filtering the lymphatic waste out.
What?
Yes. I was like, what? Yeah, 3 years ago, I went through the same thing. So it's interesting, we have this doctor, the medical doctor, who is an anesthesiologist, is that the word? Who is doing the anesthesiologist, yeah. So she said that actually they all know when the patient's going through the surgery, and then they got hooked up, right, with all the line for the pee, and they often joke about, the people these days, they all having dumb pee, all the dumb pee, because they're all clear. It's all clear, there's nothing in it, nothing is coming out. And the reason they look at it is because if people who only have clear pee, that means they will have a slower recovery, because all the waste is still in the body.
What?
Yes, yes.
So I studied with a macrobiotics fellow many years ago, and he talked about the urine and to watch for it with the yin and the yang.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always look at my urine to see, is it more on the lighter side or is it more on the darker side? And, to see where. And I think as a diabetic, the urine has changed in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I can tell if it's really, really dark, then I go, oh, I'm very yang. Maybe I need to do some more yin, eat more fruits and things. And then if it's too light, then it's like, okay, you've got to go on the other side. So
that's one way. Yes, that's one way of looking at it. But it's more, the color is more to do with the hydration level. So if it's too dark, you know that you're dehydrated. You just need to, increase more fluid intake. But I'm talking about the cloudiness, the flakes, the strength, the settlement. So I invite you to try this at home. So tonight after your dinner, say you finish at 7 o'clock, and then 12 hours later, you're fasting for 12 hours. Tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, pee into a clear jar, and just let it sit for like 4 hours, 4 to 12 hours, and to see if there's anything in it. Even, it could be cloudiness, it could be the flakes, like I said, it could be a string, and then eventually you can see the sediment at the bottom of your jar. If you don't see it, that means all the lymphatic waste is still there, and there's way to to improve that too, which I will share. But this is the sign that in my practice I use it as one of the way to gauge where people are in their detox journey. And when we start seeing, when I started seeing clients kidney filtering, that's when the healing really started, because that's when the detox really starts. Now that all the things is being draining, because before then it's really hard. It's just take extra effort, and it always hit the roadblock. Yes.
Just a simple question on, is there any relationship to when you blow your nose?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, does it relate at all, what you're saying? Like, can you tell from the mucus of your nose or not? From blowing your nose?
Our body has so many ways to excrete toxins or waste. Blowing the nose, that's one part. That's the mucus coming out, right? The body's carrying out. We have pee, we poop, bowel movement. But I'm talking about look at this two different sides. All the things that come out through our intestine is more like a large waste, and mainly digestive waste. Like all the food that we eat that is not broken down properly or is not digested properly, it will eventually throw out as your bowel movement. But the lymphatic waste mostly only excreted through the kidneys. And we're talking about the cellular waste, for example. We all know that we require hormones to perform a lot of functions in the body. And after we use that hormone, we have what they call the metabolites. Those metabolites would get dumped into the lymphatic system. Or you have a cold, or you have an infection, and then now all the damaged cells or the defeated bacteria or viruses or fungus, where do they go? Into the lymphatic system, because that's the body's sewage system. Okay, it doesn't really come out through your bowel movement. Yeah, it's through the kidney, and that's why we really want to check that. And
I was just interested if there's like a quick test in blowing your nose.
oh,
I mean,
to see if there's
to
any.
see, like,
cell-
yeah.
I mean, there definitely will be cell waste there. There's definitely waste, because everything in our body is basically all related to the cells, right? Yeah, but it's just that I'm talking about the sewage system. I'm just imagine that if the house is not cleaned for many, I mean, look at the Wendy's fault. Okay. I like that answer. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So I think for most people, if your kidneys are not filtering or you're not seeing a lot of flakes yet, and you're okay, that means your body's still buffering it. You're still handling it. Yeah, but for a lot of people who are already dealing with health challenges, it's 100%. Yeah, 100%. There's no filtering out, and then we need to work on it.
I
Now-
am
Yes.
diabetic, and I have been diagnosed with stage 2-3 kidney disease,
Mm-hmm.
and it never goes anywhere. It doesn't ever get any better. It doesn't ever get any worse, as far as I know so far. And I'm also on Jardiance for my diabetes to protect my kidneys. That's why I'm taking Jardiance, supposedly. And I don't understand how it happens that even when I get up in the morning, my numbers are high with my diabetes, even though I haven't had anything to eat for 12 hours or whatever. But I don't know, it's like a vicious circle.
Yes.
Because if you don't know what's causing it, and if it could be all this pollution in my system, I don't know how to handle that, because I have that worry too.
Yes, we will have a workshop about all the metabolic syndromes, including diabetes. Okay, so, but just, I want to get this basic understanding out so that when we talked about things to do, you know why we're doing it. Okay. Now, the other aspect of the body is the blood. Now, like I said, blood is our lifeline, and our body has a wisdom. It likes to keep the blood pH at 7.4. That's the ideal situation, 7.4. Or within a very tight range, between 7.35 to 7.45. Out of the range, we die. No exceptions, okay? So what our body does all day long really is try to balance this pH in our blood, because blood is a lifeline. It has to do with our survival. Everything has to be, all the resources have to use to keep this blood in this ideal pH range. Unfortunately, our modern life, again, not just food, modern life, our foods predominantly acid forming. Our stress is so high that make our body acidic. We are lacking sunlight. We're not grounded. We're not connected to the nature. All the things push our body to the acidic side. So now that the body is working so hard every single day, try to buffer and try to keep us alive. In that process, it has to really find a way to just buffer and to compensate the damage that's already done. So for example, let me just give you an example. If someone who is dealing with arthritis, okay? Arthritis. Usually we say that it's inflammation, which is true, but why the inflammation happens? In a regenerative health point of view, we see that because the body is too acidic, okay? And then now it will try, I'm talking about not rheumatoid arthritis, just arthritis, that's losing bone and the connective tissue. The body would try to draw out the calcium from the bone to buffer that acidity in the blood. Okay, so now imagine if you are told that, oh, I have arthritis, oh, I need more calcium. So you keep supplementing calcium. But the truth is that because you're too acidic, that's the root cause. The body is already drawing out the calcium from the bone, keep drawing out, and you add more calcium. This person, sooner or later, would get kidney stone. You see the difference here? Because if you are only treating the symptoms, you don't consider the root cause, or you don't know how the body works, then we ended up, it's like you were creating another issue. Now you're not only dealing with arthritis, you're also dealing with a kidney stone down the road.
Which is no fun.
Yeah, I know. It's not fun. It's not fun. But unfortunately, we're not told. We're not taught, about how our body works. And but again, it's because we lost the connection to nature too. Because we don't need to know all of these knowledge. No, you don't need to learn all of this. If we are well connected to the nature, the body's inner wisdom will come out. You will know what to do. I don't know, that's probably not very helpful to a lot of people. So again, the buffering, I talked about calcium is one of them. There are 3 more very common buffering agents that our body use. So for example, if the body is too acidic, the terrain is too acidic, the body will try to hold on to water because acid is corrosive to the cells. The body's wisdom is, I want to dilute that. Okay, so he will hold on, retain the water, and that's why a lot of people have water retention, edema, or even for people who are dealing with the weight issue, a lot of times it's the water weight that the body try to buffer that acid. Now, the other thing the body uses is cholesterol. Cholesterol, because cholesterol is pH 8. That's the body try to use to buffer that acid as well. One more agent is the fat. Okay, so again, it's all go back to the body system, the wisdom, because the body the top priority is to keep us alive. It will try to do whatever it can to prevent you from dropping dead right now at this moment. And so it cannot think about, oh, but this, if you buffer with this, you're gonna, keep me in suffering for a long time. No, the body says, no, I want you to be alive at this moment. So the top priority is that, to buffer that acid. And in terms of fat, because the fat, you probably, I don't know if you heard of it, the toxins are mostly all fat soluble. And because again, that's body's wisdom, it will try to tuck all the toxins in the cell so that it doesn't affect the vital organs. So if you understand all this, and then we will know how to work with the body, not against it. And then we can reverse all the conditions. So for example, for this terrain issue, if it's too acidic, what would you do?
Eat celery.
Eat the alkaline forming food, right? Try to change that environment. And pretty much most of the fruits and vegetables are alkaline forming. That's another explanation for you to eat more fruits and vegetables. It is that simple, at least from a biochemical point of view. So lemon is the number 1 most alkaline food, although it tastes sour. It tastes acidic, but it's the number 1 alkaline forming food.
What?
Yeah, so cook your food, take your food, drink your beverage with lemon everywhere.
It seems so acidic.
I know, but
I mean,
we're talking.
Get rid of rust with it or something. I mean, you could use
clean jewelry with it.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a difference here. The taste, the sour taste, and I'm talking about alkaline forming and acid forming. That means that food will create some kind of chemical reaction in your body that either ended up being alkaline or being acidic. So lemon, although tastes sour, it's alkaline forming. So I would invite you to do all this at home, starting tomorrow morning. The first thing, you get up in the morning, instead of having your coffee, have a cup of warm water with lemon juice in it. And I'm talking about, fresh squeezed lemon.
Okay, so you can't use lemon juice in the jar?
No, don't do that, because it changed that chemical property. Property.
There's some that are real natural in the bottles. The preservatives. Yeah, you look at it.
Just like all the orange juice, if you eat a whole orange or you squeeze your orange juice from the fresh orange, it's alkaline forming. It's very alkaline forming, it's very detoxifying, but if you drink the juice, it's very acidic. It's acid forming. Because it's been processed, it lost all the cofactors, and because of it's been sitting there and it's been pasteurized, all of that, okay? So you change, just always remember, go back to the nature. Whatever the nature form of the food, that's the one that we should go. And even just 50 years ago or 100 years ago, everything was organic and we were all eating only whole food. And it's not that long ago, right?
So can you have coffee later on in the day?
Don't ask. You don't want to know the answer.
Well, coffee is extremely acid forming. And so I know that a lot of people, when they were trying to go to heal, that part is at the beginning it could be a challenge, and that's why in my practice I eventually incorporate a detox protocol using very high, density, high mineral, very alkaline forming foods in the process because it's just easier for people to transition. Because otherwise, if you only just doing all the food by yourself, first of all, we all are very busy, and sometimes we are lazy, so it's just challenging. And so there's always a way to make it easier, but that caffeine, it's just not good.
What about tea, black tea?
Green tea is better. Green tea, black tea. I mean, everything in moderation. Everything is in moderation. But if you are dealing with quite a few issues already, you might want to try to find an alternative. And so what I do with my clients, I always have them transition. They slowly titrate. And you don't have to go get cold turkey and then just stop it.
No, you can get a headache.
Decaf mushroom cold turkey. What is your opinion?
Decaf mushroom.
Different mushrooms in shiitake is another good decaf. It's decaf mushroom.
But why can't you just drink the mushroom?
Well, that doesn't get selling, is it?
Yeah.
Basically mushroom coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that because I never. Okay. Well, I would assume it's better than just the plain coffee, right? Yeah.
How do you feel about lime versus lemon?
They're the same citrus, yeah, they're equally good, yeah. So for example, if you are eating, pretty much all the animal foods is on the acid forming side. And I'm not saying don't eat those, and I eat them too, but it's all about that ratio and the balance. So if you are very healthy and you're all good, everything is good, and you can have those foods, right? But if you feel like you're more challenging, you probably need to do more on the acid forming, the alkaline forming side, the more fruits and vegetables. Everything is about the balance.
I have a friend that wants to know about alcohol.
I totally understand. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying don't have it at all. There's another part of the healing property from food, right? Alcohol is usually about social connection. It's about that enjoyment of food and all that. So I'm not saying don't drink it all, but again, everything is that moderation, and what is considered moderation is different for everyone. Yes.
I want to make a comment.
I just wanted to make a comment on alcohol, just to remember it is a neurotoxin. And remember, it is the only food, to my knowledge, and Peilin, check me on this, in the US that does not require a food label. Wine. Wine is the one, sorry, I should have said that in the beginning. Food that does not require a food label. You don't know what's in it. They add extra sugar, lots of chemicals, sulfites. So if you're going to choose, you might choose something that's made in another country, or organic, or from dry farm, yeah.
They still have.
You've got to watch that,
sulfites.
right.
Natural sulfites occur in wine, even organic.
Not just that they add all the artificial coloring and the flavor into it.
Just know what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's my
I mean,
only comment.
if you don't do it, then it's great. If you cannot, not having it, then that's great. But just having this in mind, and hopefully you can go towards, cutting down slowly and gradually. Yeah.
You were trying to tell the public, oh, this is good.
Yeah, we will get to the foods workshop pretty soon. Seb, can you play the next slides, please? Okay, this is something I want to show you real quick, and this is the energy, the life force of food. And that's another reason to really eat fruits and vegetables, but you can see, oh, I can't even see it myself. It's kind of a very blurry.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see, so this is through what I call the Peilin photography that kind of measure the life force of food. And you can see the tomato, the cooked one and the raw one, they have a different life energy. Okay. And then the broccoli, the same. Now, the water is very interesting. So that's another can of worm. You can see before and after microwave.
But
Okay.
what if you heated up the water on the stove? Does he have one with the difference between the stove, water heated up on the stove versus the microwave? Does it still form a crystal?
They say that even the different medium of, like, you know, if it's heat up on the fire, gas fire or wildfire or electric, change the energy. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even if you talk to water, like in a loving
Mhm.
way, like
Yes.
that whole water crystal
Yeah.
with Dr. Veda,
Yeah.
or if
No,
you're
Dr.
screaming
Emoto.
and hate and all that, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Dr.
it's
Emoto's work.
amazing, the consciousness.
on the water bottle.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
words of love on the water bottle.
So this is actually from Dr. Emoto's water work.
Okay.
Yeah, but it just show you, before you put the water into the microwave, you see this beautiful crystal, and you put it into the microwave, it's become all kind of, and so there's a reason. I know we everything we do now, it really just gives us a lot of convenience, but at the expense of our energy, our health, and unfortunately, that's kind of a sad reality. I personally don't use microwave. It's been probably 15 years that I ditched my microwave. And you can do an experiment. I know that when my son was in elementary school, they did a science project. They used the water, a different kind of water, one water that's go through the microwave, and the other one just the regular water. Use different water to water a plants. And then after a couple of weeks, the one water with the microwave water would die, while the other one is still there.
A question for you.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to drink warm water, excuse me, if you want to drink, if you want to drink warm water, which I do more than cold water, it would be better to just drink warm tap water?
No tap water, please. We'll get to that part too, water. Yeah, no tap water, unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, this is a very interesting, and when I first came to the States, it was like, you drinking tap water? It's never happened in my life. I mean, we never, ever drink tap water.
Not in Linton.
Huh?
Not in Linton. You don't
Okay.
drink tap water in Linton.
Because of the bad quality there of the water?
It's- yeah. My,
Okay.
my higher self says, no, no, no.
Yeah,
Don't even cook with it. If you're gonna boil a vegetable,
yeah.
use filtered water,
Mhm.
because it's, yeah.
Yeah, even
They're
just
old
those,
towns, old systems, old, yeah.
yeah, even just the very simple carbon filter, the pitcher,
Yes.
even
So-
that would be way better than tap
Before
water.
your workshop this morning, my higher self was talking to me about water and the filtration. And I said, you need to get 3 Britas in a row so that you can run it through the first and then pour it into the second and then pour it into the third. Because when you get into these small towns and the structure of the old pipes and things, they don't have the money to fix this stuff. And so we've had one water issue after another in our area. So I know I don't know what Bloomington is like, but in my area, it's like, you know, even brushing my teeth with that tap water bothers me.
Well, I have an easier solution for you.
Yes,
You don't have
those
to go
little-
through 3
those little
filters.
bottles that you carry, yeah.
Yeah. No, not that. Not even that. Yeah. So,
I just wanted to interject.
Push the bottom button up and down.
I just wanted to interject. I have a zero water filter system, and I've had it in my fridge for a long time, and my daughter just gave me another one. And if anyone needs one, I have an extra one.
good. Yes. Seb, could you move on to the next image? We're almost done. So this is life force from a raw apple. And I tried to find one after the microwave. I just couldn't find it. But I see all the description of it. And the next one, please, Seb. Okay, so this is, see, between organic and conventional. Yeah, and I'm showing you this. I hope that you don't feel overwhelmed. I hope that you feel that, oh, now there's things that you really can improve little by little in a different area in your life. Because otherwise, if most people are not aware and they don't know why they're dealing with so many issues, because these are little things that you can do at home. And even just for organic food, I know that most people, most of my clients, when they first started working with me, I said, but they're more expensive. I said, well, tell me what do you eat, every day? And they ended up, they were spending way more on the processed snacks, on the Starbucks coffee, and all that. So it's all relative. It's all about perspective. Okay, I think that's all the images we have. So, any thoughts?
When's the next workshop?
So before we break up here, yes. Please could you explain more about what your blood pressure tells you, the adrenal, the kidney, systolic, dystolic? I saw it down there in the corner and it
Yes.
really got my attention.
Okay.
Please.
Yes. So actually I have one.
Yes.
So our adrenals sit on top of the kidneys, right? And the kidneys really just regulate the blood pressure in the body. I mean, one of the mechanism. And so when the adrenal, most of us people in modern life, especially in this country, we all stressed. Our adrenals are running on, like a firefly the whole time, including myself. So we would like to see the ideal number 60 and 120, right? So the 120 is the indication of your adrenal health. And so say if someone who has adrenal fatigue issues, that number will go down. And if it's 110, it's already compromised. And a lot of people I work with, their top number is like in the 90s. The adrenal is so beaten up. And under that condition, when they have a high, the bottom number, for example, the kidneys already off too. Well, how do you explain that? Actually, I will try to explain this in the metabolic workshop because I will have more reference. But here, just knowing that, so for example, if you are 120 on top, and then you have bottom number, it's only like, or your bottom number is 80, for example. That's from conventional perspective, medicine perspective, that would be a perfect number. But actually, we can see is your adrenal is still weak because that kidney number, we would like it ideally to be at 60.
But Pei,
Yeah.
most of the world thinks that this dystolic and systolic has to do with blood pressure and heart,
Yes.
vascular.
Yes, it is.
Not-
It has